Hey everyone. Hey guys. All right. Just gonna wait one more second. Hey Gus goodies. How do I wave at one person? Let's see. Okay, I don't know how to do that. But anyway, I just did a little sketch. I'm actually doing my sketching in my Rocketbook recently. Hi Lily. Yeah, so this is a Rocketbook. I just put one of my stickers over top of the logo. But yeah, I really recommend getting a Rocketbook. These are actually erasable, so you use just like water and a cloth and you can wipe off your pages and start fresh, which is really cool. So I did my sketch in there, and then I went over into Procreate, and I went to add and take a photo, and I just took a picture of that. So I am going to show you what I'm going to do with this, but feel free to ask any questions along the way, and I will try to get to them. And yeah, let's just hang out for a bit. So I'm going to use my Aya brush again. I've been doing this same style on my lives recently, but I'm having fun with it. So this is in my brush pack, so that's what I'll be using, Aya. But yeah, you could get them in my Etsy shop. And I have this little color palette that I made. It's kind of hard to see it with the lighting, but it's like pink and some reds and browns and greens, so I'm going to use that. Rosie Stickers said, "You inspired me to make a YouTube channel. Just made it today." Oh my gosh, I'm going to check it out after my live. So here's my sketch layer, which I am going to lock so I don't accidentally draw on it, and I am going to go on a new layer, and I'm going to start tracing around the letters. So this is more of like a rough look. You can see the letters are like not the same sizes. This has to be moved over. Just a rough sketch that I did. Yes, so everybody check out Rosie's Stickers on YouTube after this. I'm gonna head over there after. So I just basically go around the letters that I drew out, and then I will fill them in. Lily said, "Wait, how do you lock that layer?" Ah, that's a good little trick. Oh no, guys, my Apple Pencil is dead. So let's let that charge a second, and I will show you how I did that. So to lock your layer, you go over to the layer you want to lock, and when you swipe, let me unlock it. If you swipe, you can actually hit lock, and so now that won't move. And like if I try to draw on it, it's going to tell me locked layer. So turn that on, or what I do is I usually just add like a whole bunch of cushion layers between what I'm drawing on and the sketch, because if you hit undo too many times, it's going to keep taking away a layer, and then eventually you'll get to that layer. So sometimes I'll just add like a bunch of cushion in between if I don't feel like locking the layer. So, okay. I didn't check if my Apple Pencil was charged before I started this. I assumed it was because I recently charged it. But yeah, so then I'm going to fill in the letter with the Aya brush, and it has a nice texture to it. So now when I go ahead and shut off that sketch, you can see it has this texture within it. So I'm going to continue doing that. Oh, I actually drew this on a different layer than the outline, so I'm going to pinch these two together to combine everything onto one. And you can also break off your color palette like this. And now all my colors are over here. Oh, okay, awesome, OMG, that's so handy because I always struggle with not writing. Yeah, I've drawn on my background or my sketch way too many times. So yeah, if you break off your color palette, you can then just move it around, which is really nice. Actually, I don't think I want to use brown right next to the red because they're very similar. So I'm going to go with yellow. And I don't want the inside of the O to be that big, so I'm going to actually change it from what my sketch looked like. And I leave the brush small. I know it would be quicker if I made it larger, but then the texture will be larger. And I like the really fine little dots within it. So that's why I keep the brush small, and it takes me a bit longer to fill it in. And now I want to actually move this O over. I will try to save this live again and put it on my YouTube. That's what I did with the last one. The last live I did, I uploaded it onto my YouTube channel, and it actually got a lot of views, which I was kind of surprised about, just because it was really, really long. So if you want to watch that, it's also up there. And I'm trying to plan out the colors as I go. So being that yellow's there, green will work well here. And fill it in. If you're just coming on, I'm using Aya. This is one of my brushes. The link is in my bio to get to my Etsy shop. Yes, I saw it was awesome. Yes, please do that again. Okay, yeah. I will do that for you guys because I know it's helpful to be able to look back, and I know not everybody can stay on the whole time. So I will definitely do that. But it's fun to just fill in the letters. It's like super relaxing to color them in. And shutting off the background again. But see, they're all kind of like different looking and different sizes and whatnot. So I like how that looks for this. And let's see. For the A, I guess I can use the brown. I want to make this a little bit more pointy than my sketch was, although it kind of looks weird. Had a weird like curve to it, so I'm just gonna redo that. I feel like this was a good time to go live. Last week when I went on, a lot of people were watching, so I figured I would see how it did today, and if it does well, I will probably continue coming live at this time rather than like what I was doing before. I was going on around like 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which I think was late for some people. So I might redo the A later, but leaving it for now. And I want to actually make the inside of the D a little bit smaller. Maybe like that. But yeah, I might fix the A at the end. Now, the colors that are left to choose for the T are either like the pink I could do again over here, or the red, but the red and the brown are very similar. So I'm actually going to take the yellow. So I'm going to use my finger to select yellow. And I'm going to drag yellow into where the pink was. And now I'm going to use the pink in the T. That way the yellows are spaced out and the pink will look really nice here. What's the name of your YouTube channel? Mine is just my name, so Christina Campbell. That's Campbell. If you type that, I will come up. I have the same profile picture on there as I do over here on Instagram, so it should look familiar. But yeah, I have a couple of videos up there, and I also posted the last live, and I'll post this live over there too. But I didn't really want to post it here on my highlight. I don't even know if I could have done that, but I don't know. I just feel like there's certain people I don't want watching, like people that I know. It's just awkward. I feel like it would be a little bit harder for them to find my actual YouTube. So that's why I put it over there. Plus, it works out better because your watch hours actually count on YouTube, so figured I might as well add them over there. That way, if people watch, those hours will add up on YouTube. So, made a little bit more sense, and it was easier to upload over there rather than putting it as an IGTV here. So, I might end up switching the red O to a different color later. Actually, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to change it to this pink. And I'm going to put the red on the right of it. And I'm going to fix the spacing of U because nothing is really touching over there, or like close enough to look like a word, if that makes sense. But yeah, feel free to ask any questions. I am using my 7th generation iPad with Procreate, and I use a matte screen protector. I get that question a lot. It is a matte screen protector. It is not one of the paper-like ones. I might try the paper-like next, but I've had this on my iPad since like January, the matte screen protector, and I haven't had to replace it. So if it ever like rips or anything, I will maybe try the paper-like one and see how I like it. But if you guys use the paper-like, let me know what you think. And do you think it's worth, is it worth getting, or is it better to stick to the matte? Let me know your thoughts on that. That is nothing like the Y that I had in my sketch, as you can see. But that's why it's just a sketch, and if I don't like it, I totally change it. All right, there we go. Now let's shut off the background and see how that's looking. The only thing that I'm not liking is this A here. So I'll fix it later, but otherwise I think it's looking pretty good. I'll probably take this T, and I'm not going to do it because I would probably redraw it, but I might make this angled like that to match the A, but I'm going to undo for right now and leave it for right now and put on background again. And now I will do love. Why do you sketch it first on paper and not on your iPad? That is such a good question. I don't know if it's just for me personally, but I feel like it is a very different feel to sketch on the iPad compared to using an actual pen or a pencil. It just, to me, it doesn't feel the same. And I don't know why. It just, like, I can get out better ideas if I use an actual pencil and paper first versus just coming into the iPad. It's just not like the same experience, if that makes sense. Yeah, it just makes a big difference for me. If I sketch here on Procreate, it just doesn't feel right. So I do it on paper. I did learn that in one of my college courses as well, that it's best to sketch on paper first. So we did that for pretty much all our design, like logos and everything. We were told to sketch first on paper. How do you make a living? What do you mostly sell? I do commissions, so people will reach out to me asking for a design, whether it's for their logo or for like a t-shirt that they're designing for their business, all things like that. And then I also sell my Procreate brushes and some other digital items. And I sell prints and stickers. And I also dog sit, so I have a bunch of little things going on. But yeah, lots and lots of commissions recently, which is a lot of fun to work on different little projects here and there. How much to charge? How do you know how much to charge? It depends on what they are looking for and, how detailed it will be and how long it will take me and how many revisions and what they're actually getting. So the price really will depend. But that is something, like, if you're looking to do that, you need to figure out how much you want to make per hour and calculate all that out. And yeah, it's very personal how you want to charge or how much you want to charge. But always use a contract if you are doing commissions. I highly recommend getting a good contract written up and have both parties sign off on it and get your payment before you start designing. How do you make sticker circle square? How do you make a sticker circle square for a logo? I'm not sure if you're asking how I make stickers or how I get the shape. Okay, let me fix the V. It looks kind of curved rather than... I might have to redo the V after. Which Procreate do you use? This is just on the iPad. This is the Procreate app on the iPad. But I also just downloaded the Pocket version of Procreate onto my phone because somebody was asking if my brushes work on the phone app, and they do work on there as well. But I did want to test it out before I said they do. So they definitely work in there as well. If you only have a phone and you want to get Procreate on your iPhone, you can do that. Okay. Let me grab red for this O. Yeah, the shape, circles/square logos. What I would do, anytime I make a sticker, I always bring it into Adobe Illustrator and I will create the shape behind it in Illustrator, which I'm gonna try to do a live on that and how I use Illustrator, like the stroke on whatever I've made, and I make a stroke around it to get that like bubble look. So if I want just a circle, I would make it in Illustrator, put the design over top it and export it like that. But not everybody has Illustrator and it is expensive to get the subscription. Besides your brushes, what are your favorite brushes? I'll show you one of my very favorite brushes. Let me pull it up. But I do need to plug in my Apple Pencil, so this will be a good time to show you. So this is the brush. It's called Fancy Finesse Lettering. It's by Missy Myers. If you search her on Google, you should be able to find it. But what I do with this brush, hold on, let me just make sure I've answered all the other questions, and then I'm going to show you how I use this brush. Which Procreate is better in your opinion? The iPad is better just because if you have an Apple Pencil, it's easier to draw with, and the screen's a little bit bigger, but both work. Would love to see that. When would I know? I will let you guys know on my story beforehand if you want to see that. Can you use Illustrator on your iPad? I don't know if it has all of the same features. I don't believe so. But I can check on that for you. Okay, so what I do with this Fancy Finesse brush, I do this, I've shown this on some of my reels, and what you do is, let's say let me turn all of this off. I'm going to go ahead and use my eye brush again just for a second. Let's say you wrote out, let me make this bigger. I'm going to use the exact same example that I used last time. Let's say you wrote out the word hey. like that. It's kind of crooked, but you get the idea. Now what I would do with that Fancy Finesse by Missy Myers brush, I would add a new layer above that, and let's say I'm going to pick black just because it's easiest to show. What I do with this brush, I make it kind of small, and then I outline these letters. Like this. Obviously, you would take your time and do this a little bit better than what I'm doing right now. But you just like outline them like that and then drag in and fill that in. And like you could see here that it's a little bit crooked. Okay, let me do one more. Just really, really quickly. But I like this brush because it has a nice pressure sensitivity. So if I want to do a little bit smaller of a brush, I can do that. And then if I press hard, it gets thicker. So I like to use this brush for outlining just because it's a little bit easier to control than the monoline that comes in Procreate. So I definitely prefer this. And I would just continue outlining. Sorry, it's really hard for me to show you guys this and hold my phone. I have to like look through my phone to make sure I'm showing you guys the right thing. Okay, so I would just do it like that over top the Aya brush. And then now I'm going to shut off that background. And what I would do is fill in these letters here like that. And I don't know, it just gives it a cool, like, the edges kind of look rough. Let me show you a design that I did that technique. Just have to scroll a minute because I didn't really do that recently. Super recently anyway. This one. No. That was Kenzie 2.0. Not. Hold on. This one. Okay, this design here I did using that technique where you draw it out first. I use my Aya brush, or I will, sorry, I have to plug in my pencil. I will either use my Aya brush, which is this one that I was just showing for the other design I was working on, or I will use Maddie or Mary, work nicely for this. And then I add a new layer above it and I trace around the shape to using that fancy finesse lettering brush to get the outline and then fill them in. But it just gives a nice, like, crisp look to it. So, and the reason I use the brush underneath it first is that way all the letters are a consistent width. So like all of these were done with one brush size, so you could see for the most part everything looks consistent. Then tougher, I used a little bit of a bigger brush, Aya brush, and a larger size, so you get the idea. Doesn't matter what brush you use before the fancy finesse. I would stick with a brush that has a fixed width, so something that doesn't have pressure sensitivity, like this Aya brush is a consistent width no matter how hard you push into it, whereas like, let me find a brush that wouldn't work too well. I don't even know how to use this brush, but this is under inking. I picked the Tinderbox, like something like this wouldn't work too good because it's not consistent in width. I guess if you keep your pencil straight up, it would be. But yeah, something that doesn't taper or get smaller when you press lighter. Let me just undo that, and I'm going to go back to whatever I was working on before. But I do have to not show what I'm working on because some things are commissions in there, and I don't want to ruin anyone's surprises. Okay. So back to this. I just have to do the L, and then I can start rearranging. I'm going to add some stars, and I'm gonna add a texture over top. So let me grab the background again. I'm gonna delete this so I don't accidentally use it, and get back to Aya. Okay. I think I'm gonna do the L in pink because I haven't used pink in the bottom yet, and it's far enough apart that I think it'll work nicely. So outline, oh no, I think, there we go. But yeah, I do enjoy this style just because it's a little bit more free, and I don't know, I've been having fun with making like kind of bubbly big letters. So move that up a little and shut off the background and see how it's looking. So from here, I'm going to rearrange a little bit to fix the spacing. So you see how much of a gap is between L and O here, and then the bottom of the L is really, 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 really close to the O here. So I want to actually move this L to the left, and it's going to create a bigger gap, which means I need to move everything else over a little bit as well. So I'm going to move the V over, and the E as well. Like that. And I'm also going to start moving the letters in U apart a little bit as well. So I'm going to move the U over and move the O over just a little bit. Okay. And now, of course, that looks nicely spaced for the most part, but then what looks really cramped together, so we have to fix that too. Okay. What is the best brush for logo design drawings? It really depends what you're doing, and like what style logo the person is looking for. But I've been using my Aya brush for some logos. Okay, and then you said, I think you need to redo the V. Yeah, I might redo some of the letters at the end. First, I like to space this all out, see how it's looking, and then I will redo. Thank you so much, Tori. Space it out. Move things over. And I'm going to also do what up a little bit. And see if I could give this more room. Just a little bit more room. How do you add texturing? Okay, hang on. Can you do a full tutorial on Procreate? Yes. What would you like to see? Like, do you want me to go through all the settings and that kind of thing, or like a whole lettering tutorial? If you have any specific requests, let me know. But I definitely can. And somebody said, how do you add texturing? So it depends. You can either add texture directly with a brush. So like this Aya brush has texture incorporated into it, so you get that nice texture in it. Or you can also add texture at the end, like to your whole canvas, which I will show you guys at the end of this, how I do that. It's pretty easy. And I'm going to probably redo this A. But for right now, I'm going to leave it and see how it looks. But see, now there's this big gap between the top part of the A and the H. So I'm going to move the W to the left to balance that out a bit. It's all about balancing. And now I want to move dew up a little bit. Maybe through the settings. Okay, so I actually have an IGTV on going through these settings. I didn't get through all of them. I was going to do a part 2, but then I just never did. I can't remember why, but I just didn't film it. But I have a part 1, and in that I go through all of these settings up here. I think I skipped something, maybe these 2 areas, but I did like all of these and whatever is under here. So if you want to check that out. But I will try to film the second half of it, or I can do a live where I do that as well. Okay, so I'm gonna now crop the canvas to fit this more into a square. So what I do to do that, I go up to the canvas settings, so canvas, crop and resize, and I'm gonna zoom out. I'm going to eyeball it to get it to look like it should fit into a square, and then I'm going to actually look at the size of it and change that in a minute. So first I kind of like to eyeball it, and then I'll go up here to settings and look at these numbers and see if I can make them match. So I'm going to change this now to 1927, and might have to recenter it a little bit and hit done. Okay, so that looks a lot better now that it's more square, and I'm going to move this and make sure it's centered. Turn snapping on to check if it's actually centered. Where do we find it? Okay, for my IGTV, if you go to my profile and right under the little circles where the highlight covers are, I think one says like brushes, one says TikTok. I can't remember what the other one says. But right under that, you'll see my main feed, and then if you click the different ones, you'll get to my reels, and then the next one to the right of that will be the IGTV, and you could scroll through. Or if you want to DM me after this, I will send you the link to it if that's easier. Okay, I'm going to add a few stars now. So let me grab my stars. I'm going to probably by the end of this week, these are going to be in my Etsy shop. If you want to grab some star stamps, but they're not up yet. But if you do want to, be on the lookout for that. Just gonna add a few stars here and there. One like that. And then maybe a yellow one next to it. Like that. And I think maybe one more over here in green. I think that would look nice. Like that. And I'm going to repeat that maybe up here, like more stars there. And I actually want to add one right above this L and fill in that gap. So let me pick one out. Maybe this. Oh, way too big. Like that. And I think maybe up here I'll do something as well. Oh, geez. Okay. I have to figure out what color. I think pink here. And then I'm going to do two more on the sides. Let's see. Maybe brown. And then one more. Thinking yellow would look good. And then I'll add the texture. But if you are just joining, or if you're going to be hopping off, I'm going to try to add this whole live onto YouTube so you can see it later on if you want. So I'm thinking like that. I think I'm going to change this yellow star to green actually. because I don't really have anything green up there. That, I think that looks better. So I think that's how I'm going to leave it. And now I'll show you the texture. First I want to add a background. So I'm going to go on a layer right underneath it, and I usually do something around here and then all the way up to the top, like a light pink. So I'm going to do that. And to do the texture, I put a layer above the text, or like the quote that I did. I'm going to grab a brush. I'll use the Aya brush again. I'm going to change this to gray. And what I start doing is I will shrink the brush down and start adding little speckles, or like little lines all around the paper. Gives it like a little paper look to it. And you can like overlap the letters with it, or you don't have to if you don't want to, but I kind of like how that looks, overlapping. But just gives it almost like if you were looking at a piece of paper, how paper has little like speckles in it sometimes. So using a gray, and I know it looks weird right now. Sorry guys, I had poor connection. But yeah, so a bunch of little dots. And now from here, you want to go up here, tap your layer and hit the N. You want to change your blending mode to, usually color burn will work nicely, but it doesn't look too good on this. So I'm going to try linear burn and drop the opacity. Get that. And there you go. So that's how I add the texture above, and you can play with the blending modes, and depending like what color your background is or what color your brush was will affect how it's going to look. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for the live. I will save this shortly. It takes me a bit to upload it, but I will try to get it up within the next hour or so if you want to watch the full video. And I will try to go live again another night this week. DM me if you have any questions or anything from this video that you want me to go over again. I can always talk with you over DM. If you want my brushes, you get all 15 of these. The link to them is in my bio, and I have some Halloween stamps in there as well. Where are my Halloween stamps? Here they are. Some little ghosts and moons and witches and cats and bats, skulls. It's kind of hard to show. So yeah, check that out if you're interested, and thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. Do you sell your star stamps? They're coming by the end of the week. So I'll have them up very soon if you're interested in that. All right. See you guys later.